Hello, good evening. It's 5 p.m. Welcome to 505. Coming up this evening, South Africa's government accuses Ghana of spreading false information on the death of a 40-year-old Ghanaian national in South Africa. Tonight, the two countries have clashed on the circumstances which led to the death of the deceased. We'll bring you the account of the two countries. Stay with us. Also coming up tonight, calls for deeper collaboration between security agencies heightened in the face of rising concerns of terrorism threats to Ghana.
Pillar 3, ensuring durable peace and security in Ghana and the sub-region. And this project is part of the UN family's approach to supporting the government of Ghana in achieving durable peace and security in the sub-region.
We have details as UN top security couples and Parliament Security and Intelligence Committee gather to adopt a standard operation procedure to counter terrorism. We'll take you to Adanse in the Ashanti region, where residents are calling for an action to stop illegal miners from mining at Agenda 111 sites.
Ayalefo ne apemfo timi kom kwaje ayaresa ben ho pe na nanom yesere mo mumpiem na na maye hu bibi ma.
We'll get more details into that. And the Black Stars have arrived in Kansas City in the United States of America ahead of their round 32 match against Colombia. We have these and more stories plus some interesting analysis to stay with us. But in business tonight,
Bank of Ghana receives 14.58 million cedis dividends from Gibbs. We have more at 5:50.
Of course, these and more stories coming up shortly. We're coming to you live from our studios here. Digital address Geo 0423598 North Laboni. Third that they work on Class 91.3 FM in Accra. You're also live on Who FM 92.5, Hills 91.7 at Daklu, both in the voter region. Max Empire 96.9 at Bazwa in the Upper East region. Dagbon FM 102.5 in Tamale, Radio Power 96 in Spain. We're live on Facebook. Connect with us or join us with a thoughts, comment, and contributions with a hashtag 505. Alternatively through our WhatsApp number 0500,000 202. My name is Kwame Okyere Jnr. It's time. It's 505. Welcome. And 505 is always brought to you by MTN Everywhere You Go and Electroland Ghana Limited. Review Scratch for Win is also part of our supporters. So tonight, let's begin our very first story. South Africa's government has rejected Ghana's accounts of the killing of a Ghanaian national, insisting that the incident was a criminal attack and not linked to the anti-immigrant demonstrations, as stated here in Accra. The clarification was made in a statement issued on Thursday, July 2, that's today, 2026, by South Africa's Minister of Justice and Constitutional Development, Mamuluko Kubayi, who also chairs the Inter-Ministerial Committee on Migration. Kubayi said she was concerned about a statement issued by Ghana's Ministry of Foreign Affairs, which linked the death of a Ghanaian national to xenophobic-related protest in Cape Town. According to her, that account was inaccurate and did not reflect the circumstances of the incident. My colleague Veronica Amadei has copies of the statements. I'm talking about that of Ghana and South Africa, and she joins me in studio with it. Give us the details of the developing story first.
Okay, so authorities in Ghana and South Africa have issued differing statements regarding the circumstances surrounding the death of a Ghanaian national in Cape Town, while both sides, confirmed that Ghanaian citizens has died in the Western Cape. There are conflicting accounts over the timing, the context, and also the cause of the incident. So this matter has now, escalated beyond a criminal investigation, drawing in diplomatic channels, police findings, and also broader concern about migration-related tensions in South Africa. However, the incident at the center of the controversy occurred on Monday, 29 June 2026 in the Nyanga area of Cape Town within South Africa's Western Cape province, where the deceased called Mr. Bashiru Isaac, aged 40. So according to the official police statement from the Western Cape authorities, the Ghanaian man was working at a barber shop located on Ems Drive when he was attacked by a known armed suspect. And so preliminary reports indicate that the assailants entered the business premises and allegedly demanded money from the victim. When the demand was not met, the suspects reportedly opened fire, shooting the man multiple times before fleeing the scene. And so emergency responders arrived shortly after the attack, but the victim was declared dead at the scene due to the gunshot wounds. And so police have since opened a murder and extortion related case, and so investigations are ongoing to identify and also arrest those responsible. Authorities have also called on members of the public with information to assist in bringing the perpetrators to justice. But importantly, investigators have so far linked the motive of the attack to criminal extortion activities rather than any direct connection to public protests. So this incident, however, later became entangled in wider public discourse due to ongoing demonstrations in parts of South Africa relating to irregular immigration and also tensions involving foreign nationals. However, the South African government has also strongly disputed aspects of the narrative presented in Ghana's official statement. So speaking to the Minister of Justice and Constitutional Development, Maluko Kubaya, who also chairs the Interministerial Committee on Migration, authorities expressed concern over what they describe as inaccurate and misleading statements issued by Ghana's Ministry of Foreign Affairs. So according to South African statements, the Ghanaian national was not killed during anti-immigrant demonstrations as initially suggested, but was insisted that the victim of a separate criminal incident that occurred the day before the protest on June 29, 2026. So the minister emphasized that police records show no fatalities directly linked to the demonstrations held on 30th June, adding that isolated criminal acts should not be misrepresented as politically motivated or xenophobic violence. She further warned that the circulation of what she termed incorrect narratives risk escalating diplomatic tensions unnecessarily and undermining ongoing law enforcement efforts. He also continued that any concerns about between two countries be addressed through established diplomatic and intergovernmental channels rather than public statements that may be based on incomplete information. At the same time, Minister Kubayi extended that condolences to the family of the deceased and assured that South African law enforcement agencies would pursue the case until perpetrators are brought to justice. She also reiterated that it is systematically xenophobic, stating that the country remains committed to the protection of all foreign nationals residing within its borders. In contrast, the government of Ghana also issued a strong worded response condemning the killing and also raising broader concerns about the safety of its nationals in South Africa. So in a statement from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, it says that the incident as senseless and an act of violence, expressing deep shock and also sorrow over the death of the Ghanaian national. So the ministry emphasized that regardless of the circumstances, the killing reflects a worrying environment of insecurity affecting foreign nationals, including Ghanaians in parts of the South Africa. And so Ghana has confirmed that its High Commission in Pretoria has formally engaged South African authorities, including the Department of International Relations and Cooperation, and also filed an official complaint with the South African Police Service. The government further stated that an autopsy was conducted following confrontation of the victim's identity and notification of the family. So it's now demanding a full, transparent and expedited investigations into the killing, as well as the swift arrest and prosecution of those responsible. Additionally, Ghana has reiterated calls for enhanced protection measures for its citizens living in affected communities, stressing that South Africa has an obligation under international law to ensure that safety and dignity of foreign nationals on its territory. And also, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs also confirmed that the matter has been escalated to African Union Commission, where Ghana has previously submitted petitions regarding xenophobic attacks against African immigrants in South Africa. And so the latest developments as to ongoing concern about migration-related tensions in parts of the South Africa, where foreign nationals have at times been caught up in violent crime and public protests. So while South African authorities remain particular about this case as criminal in nature, Ghana's response reflects broader anxieties about the protection of its citizens abroad and the interpretation of such incidents within a wider xenophobic context. The divergence in both official narratives have also placed that the matter within a sensitive diplomatic space and also requiring carefully engagement between both governments to prevent further escalation. So as it stands now, investigations remain ongoing in South Africa, while diplomatic engagement continue between Accra and Pretoria. So both governments agree on one fundamental point, which is, the Ghanaian national has lost his life under tragic circumstances. So however, they remain divided on the context in which it happened. So the outcome of the ongoing police investigation is expected to play a key role in clarifying the investigation, the facts, and also potentially easing tensions between the two countries. So for now, the incident continues to raise broader questions about immigration, security, and also communications between Africa's states in moments of crisis. So we'll keep monitoring the developments as more information becomes
so what the South African government is clarifying or wants to establish the fact that it has nothing to do with xenophobic attack.
Okay. He died a day before the protest, so that's according to them. And also the Ghanaian ministry is also saying that it can't be that because there are a lot of attacks and also demonstrations going on. So there has been a very controversial topic on both ministries. So we are urging that as investigations are all going, there's going to be facts on whether this
we should see the outcome of that investigation anyway. Vero, thank you so much. So that's my colleague Very Kamade giving us the breakdown of what the two country wish to put out. So the Ghanaian government put out that it is linked to the xenophobic attack, and of course that has brought to the response from the South African government that it has nothing to do with a xenophobic attack in South Africa. So that's it there. We'll try to establish contact with a Ghanaian resident in South Africa, but unfortunately the response we're getting is that he cannot speak with us at the moment. We'll also speak with an international relations expert to know what the collaboration should be, and of course as far as the investigation to this particular matter, whether or not the gentleman, the 40-year-old Ghanaian, died as a result of xenophobic attack. This is Class 91.3 FM in Accra, across the country and across the world on classfmonline.com. This is 505. We'll move on to some of the stories, but it has to do with security because calls are growing for stronger collaboration among the security agencies as concerns mount over the increasing threat of terrorism in the sub-region. Security experts have in recent days warned of a possible spillover of terrorist activities into countries such as Ghana, stressing the need for improved coordination and preparedness to address the emerging threat. In response, the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime has brought together senior security officials to develop and adopt standard operating procedures aimed at strengthening cooperation and enhancing the fight against terrorism. Listen to the chairperson of the Interior Committee, Dr. Zenato Ajima Rawlings, who says a united security agency can deal with the counter-terrorism and extremism, not just preparedness. Listen.
A scenario where there's been some terrorist attack or some violent extremism, when cases are brought before the court, because there's been proper chain of custody, there's been proper integrity of the evidence protection, and of course the scene of the crime was actually taken care of properly. As a result of that, the hope is that we will have a better prosecution rate and that the judges will not deem evidence inadmissible because of the way evidence was collected. If we make reference to our national security strategy, the underlying concept is to have an all of society and all of government approach, and that's what we are trying to do. The greater the harmonization there is between the various agencies, the services involved, the better the chance of a better outcome, because operating in silos means that there might be things that one agency might be missing out on, and that's why we're having such a very important collaboration with the different security services, relevant agencies. We have the judiciary here present, as well as the Attorney General and the Justice Department as well, and all of that, including our security and intelligence agencies, defense, to ensure that we all are speaking to the same issues, that we all understand the framework with which we're working, and it makes it easier even between the different agencies for there to be greater collaboration so that justice is actually not only done but also seen to have been done.
So that's the chairperson of the Interior Committee, Dr. Zenato Ajima Rawlings. We'll go on the phone line shortly and speak with security analyst Adib Sani, but the UN has also pledged to collaborate to curb the rising threat. Listen.
Supporting peace, security, and effective institutions, and rule of law remains central to our partnership with Ghana under the United Nations Sustainable Development Cooperation Framework, which was signed in 2023 and will end in 2027. The cooperation framework has one key priority area, that's what we call Pillar 3, ensuring durable peace and security in Ghana and the sub-region. And this project is part of the UN family's approach to supporting the government of Ghana in achieving durable peace and security in the sub-region. Today's meeting, therefore, is part of the wider project strengthening criminal justice response to terrorism in West Africa. And the aim is to enhance capacity of national and regional actors to investigate, prosecute, and adjudicate terrorism cases, particularly in high-risk border areas and in relation to threats such as the threats we're experiencing in the sub-region.
So that's a rep from the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime speaking there. Let me speak with Mr. Adib Sani, who is a security analyst. Mr. Adib, good evening to you. I'm grateful for your time on 505. I trust you're doing very well.
I'm very well. Thank you so much for having me.
I see. Security experts have warned of a possible spillover of terrorism in Ghana. How real is this threat? From where you sit, are you seeing these same indicators?
Absolutely. And this is not new. I mean, this is a warning some of us have been given for some time now. I have taken the trouble to go all the way to Burkina Faso, all the way to Ouagadougou, and some parts of that country to ascertain firsthand what exactly is going on. And considering how porous our borders are, considering the fact that we haven't really engaged or included the communities along the border areas in the country in this whole affair of countering violent extremism, considering the fact that we still have a long way to go so far as sharing intelligence with other countries is concerned, considering also the fact that we have a plethora of internal security issues, including chieftaincy and land conflicts, which the Peace Council says is over 350, including Buku. The fact that we have human insecurities such as youth unemployment, marginalization of certain ethnic groups, especially the Fulbe. So the threat is real. This coupled with also the fact that the terrorists, especially Jabhat al-Nusra al-Islami wal-Muslimin, also known as Janim, have an expansionist worldview. Okay, they have been able to assert a great deal of control in the Sahel region, especially in Burkina Faso and Mali. And once they are able to take total control of the area, what do they do next? They have their eyes towards the coastal areas, and Ghana would definitely, come within their scope. That is why it is imperative that we work assiduously towards countering this threat.
I see. I'm sure the questions many are asking is that what makes countries like Ghana vulnerable to extremist groups operating in wider West African sub-region? Is there something that we need to know and the reason behind that?
Absolutely. Just as I have indicated, we have some deep-seated socio-economic and geopolitical deficits in our society. That is not too different from what is going on in other countries which have been taken over by these terrorists, particularly the issue of youth unemployment, people not having access to basic necessities of life. And you would realize that over the years, our focus towards fighting terrorism has been the militarized approach, bombing them, killing as many terrorists as we can, forgetting that you kill one terrorist, you make two terrorists, okay? Hence, we need to relook at our approach. Even though in the past we've had a number of what's it called, operations such as Bakan, Takuba, the Joint Task Force. We've also had the Accra Initiative, etc. But if you ask whether truly we have made significant gains towards rolling back the terrorists, I wouldn't be able to say yes. That means our approach is not working. We have to rethink by addressing these insecurities. But I also see that a lot of people keep talking about the threat from outside into Ghana, forgetting that the threats within the country is even more dire than the threats from outside the country. Considering the number of chieftaincy and land disputes we have, considering the massive proliferation of small arms and light weapons in the country, then the issue of marginalization. As a matter of fact, I'm doing some work on the Fulani issue, and very soon, hopefully, I'll get it published. So we need to address some of these structural, systemic, internal issues in as much as we need to protect our borders to prevent these people from coming in.
We've had collaborations, other foreign partners collaborating with Ghana to deal with this canker. The UN Office on Drugs and Crime is also supporting this development, the development of standard operating procedures. Really, what practical difference would these standard operating procedures make?
It depends on the nature of the standard operating procedure, okay? Because there's been in the past a mechanism to share intelligence amongst the various countries, okay? However, I don't think that has been enough. It has to be more real time, okay? And countries would also have to commit and be willing to share intelligence when others need it. Because when you're looking for someone in Burkina Faso, the probability that he could slip into Ghana or any other country is high. That is why you need to look for the suspects, all over the subcontinent. For example, in Europe, they even have a DNA database for the whole of Europe called CODIS. Okay, so when you are looking for a suspect, you are able to run the DNA all across Europe. So if we are able to share intelligence and have countries have access to the intelligence data that everybody contributes to under a strict protocol or regime, that could help to some extent. But it is also possible if countries trust one another. Okay, at this point, well, maybe it's beginning to change. But in the past, especially when the former president went to Washington and spoke about Wagner activities in Burkina Faso and all that, I think it marred the relationship between Ghana and Burkina Faso. But thankfully, later we went to apologize to them because we knew it was a complete diplomatic disaster. So we need to address these issues, because if Ghana gets its homework right and Burkina Faso doesn't, it makes nonsense of all our efforts. Okay, so there's the need for that well-coordinated approach to dealing with the threat.
You talked about chieftaincy crisis, and of course that is something that we're battling with, especially up north. That seemed to be as though it is not ending anytime soon. If this is a factor, how then does security agencies come in to deal with the problem? Because I mean, anytime there's a conflict up north, security agencies move there. Months or weeks after, we'll see that escalation again, coupled with porous borders. How collaborate? What should be the collaboration between the security agencies to deal with this? Since you've talked about a different approach in tackling the matter.
Well, in security studies, there's a theory we use, the position interest needs theory. For example, you are the boss in an office, then two of your staff are not in good terms. Then you call to ask, then one tells you, the other day I came to work, I greeted her, she didn't respond, and that is why we're fighting. As a boss, if you concentrate on that and constrict it to just that, the fact that one greeted and the other didn't respond, you might not be dealing with the issue from the very root cause. Go deeper, and you'd realize that there's an undertone. Okay, that is the issue with our approach to dealing with these chieftaincy conflicts. We address it like a farmer getting rid of weeds on his farm by just trimming the top. But if we really are committed to ending it once and for all, we have to uproot the weeds by going deep and dealing with the issue from there. Okay, but it needs some level of political commitment and wit, strong, assertive leadership. Okay, because if you are a government that fears creating enemies on the losing side, then it becomes a problem. Okay, a lot of it also has to do with just pure unbridled criminality. Some take advantage of the conflicts to engage in other forms of criminality, like robberies, like drug trafficking, like human trafficking. Okay, so if you don't deal with that issue, it degenerates into multiple security threats confronting your country. So we need that political willingness. Civil society has a very important role to play. I've always said, look, one of the most important features of every functioning progressive democracy is a functioning CSO. So if you are able to work collaboratively with the CSOs that the people trust and who are on the ground and are doing a whole lot of work, trust me, it's going to help to a very large extent, especially also dealing with the issues of weapons proliferation. Because the thing is, if you go on a swoop and seize weapons and arrest individuals, do you think you've dealt with it once and for all? No, because the new weapons would come into the system. So what do? You stop the inflow. you get me?
Yeah.
So we need to always address some of these issues in a multi-pronged nature and as holistically as possible. Otherwise, we might just be on a wild goose chase.
Finally, before you go, earlier you talked about unemployment situation. We know that month ago the Arms Commission, together with the Interior Ministry, were embarked on an exercise where those with firearms can surrender them. We saw a number of people bringing their weapons, but then the issue of unemployment becomes a worry, because if these terrorist groups identify young people who are unemployed, they can recruit them into joining them and then subsequently causing mayhem. What can government do in terms of unemployment situation, especially with areas where unemployment is on the rise, so they are not swayed into recruitment into some of these terrorist groups?
Well, you are right, because a lot of people have the tendency of thinking terrorism is all about religion, fanaticism, or ideology, you know. In some cases, it is pure economics. A lot of young people fall for some of these terrorist groups because they promise them money, and in some cases, they give them money. Okay? Government of Ghana, for example, has come out with a lot of social interventions. Okay, remember youth employment, agency, and a whole lot of things they are doing aimed at equipping the youth and all that. However, still unemployment is at around, I think, 14%. A lot more has to be done. Okay, providing the safety net does help to a very large extent, but we also need to particularly pay attention to even our educational system. My brother, on an annual basis, you have thousands of young men and women coming out of various tertiary institutions all over the country, and they come to join the backlog. of a lot of graduates without job. Look, almost on daily basis, I have people even today, not less than 5 people have gotten in touch with me asking for help to, get a job. All right. So government has to be deliberate about it. We have to look at our educational, possibly, reforming our educational system. We have to especially also pay attention to the private sector, because we always indicate is that engine of growth. We have to provide safety nets for the private sector so they are able to thrive and create more jobs for young people. We have to encourage innovation, entrepreneurship in other jurisdictions, especially with a lot of these Asian tigers, other Asian countries. When a young man has the novel idea, the state comes in to support.
Yeah.
But today you see young men maybe somewhere in a hinterland able to produce a moving vehicle, and we share it on social media and it ends there. If it is another jurisdiction, look, the government will look for the person and provide the resources needed. Okay? So like I indicated, we have to be deliberate about it. And finally, the issue of see something, say something.
Yeah.
When it was first introduced, I mean, some of us were happy. We were so happy because other jurisdictions, other countries have tried it, and it has worked for them. Unfortunately for us in Ghana, it has not been well managed, and stakeholder consultation has been very poor, and so the whole thing was so messy. You go out there, you ask people, okay, say Moati, see something, say something. What do you have to say? They don't know. What do you even have to say? They don't know. Who do you have to say it to? They don't know. Where or when do you have to say it?
Yeah.
They don't know. It's bizarre. So, look, if the state doesn't involve civil society actors in this whole thing, it's going to continuously, fail. So I think there's an opportunity, unique opportunity for the state to take advantage of the presence of a fledgling civil society space to help advance some of these things.
Mr. Adib, thank you so much for your time this evening. I'm grateful so much. So that's Sanya Deep, who is a security analyst, sharing his thoughts on this discussion. Let's go back to our xenophobic story because there's a gentleman in South Africa. So let me cross